Welcome back to my kitchen, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're in my class, you know the tune. Anyway, welcome back to my kitchen. Hope you're well. Holly is not, is she? She has been dragged up the stairs. Varjak has not come to her rescue. Before I read, I wonder who's listening. Is there perhaps a Jonah out there listening? Hello if you are. Maybe Gracie and Brooke. Maybe there's a Ben. Oh, there could be an Antonia or a Millie Rose. There could be a Miles. There could be a Tyler, an Emily, a Rachel. A Rachel? I don't think there'll be a Rachel. What about a Raina? Whoever's there, hello. Hope you're okay. Let's read. We're on chapter 31. Holly's upstairs. Varjak's not happy. That evening, Varjak dreamed. He dreamed he was walking by the Tigris. Date palms swayed in the cinnamon breeze. He looked up at those Mesopotamian stars, no longer so strange. They were part of him now, as he was part of this place. It was peaceful out here. It was home. However hard Jalal's teaching was, it wasn't as difficult as the real world with its decisions and dangers and failures. Jalal walked beside him. The knowledge that was lost is almost restored, he said. There is but one more skill. This, however, I cannot teach you. I can only tell you its name. As he spoke, Varjak wondered what the original Mesopotamian blue really thought of him. Jalal had never answered that question. Would the old cat be proud that Varjak had stood by his family? He'd faced a terrible choice, and he had chosen the Mesopotamian blues. It hurt inside when he thought of Holly, so he tried not to, and looked at his silver blue ancestor instead. What is the seventh skill, Jalal? The seventh skill is to trust yourself. There, your training is now complete. Keep the way alive, Varjak Paw. Jalal glided down to the water's edge. Wait, called Varjak. I don't understand. Show me what it means. Trusting yourself is a skill, like open mind, said Jalal. But where the first skill looks outwards, the seventh looks inwards. This is the hardest skill of all. For someone who thinks he is not worthy even to be himself, it could be impossible. Varjak hung his head, tried to look away from Jalal's amber gaze. But there was no avoiding his ancestors' words. They seemed to reach right into his heart. What have I taught you, my son? A cat must be free, must be true, true to itself. When you said you were not worthy to be a Mesopotamian blue, I knew not whether to laugh or cry. You see, who you are and where you come from count for nothing with me. The only thing that counts is what you do. Varjak gasped at his ancestor. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Aren't we the noblest of cats? He said. We are whatever we choose to be, said Jalal. If being a blue means anything, it means following my way. Any cat who does that is one of mine. All you need to do is trust yourself, and I say you are worthy to be a blue. He smiled. What say you now, Varjak Paw? But my eyes. What colour are your eyes? They're the wrong colour, the colour of danger. Which is? Varjak hesitated. I don't know, he admitted. I've never seen them. Come and join me, my son. Varjak glided down to the water's edge. Look at me, said Jalal. Am I worthy to be a Mesopotamian blue? Of course you are. Now look into the river, said Jalal. What do you see? Varjak peered at the still surface of the Tigris. He saw the stars shimmering deep inside, saw the moon rising in the east, and saw two silver-blue cats with amber eyes calmly looking back at him. There's the picture. Varjak awoke from his dream in the front room. It was still dark outside as he looked around. The family were gathered round him in a circle by the Contessa's empty armchair. His mind was like the sky after a storm. Everything was clear and sharp. He knew what he had to do. With one leap, he sprang onto the red velvet armchair. No one tried to stop him. Not father, not Julius. It was his. The power was his, and only he could decide what to do with it. Now, he said, I need the truth. Has anyone seen the Contessa since the gentleman came to the house? They shook their heads. So unless we do something ourselves, we're at his mercy. How often is he here? He goes out a lot, said father. And the black cats, do they go with him? Varjak, you're head of the family, said Julius. I'm not disputing that. But why do you ask these questions? It's only going to cause trouble. Why can't you just accept things as they are? Because something's happening up there, something bad. I'm going to find out what it is. I'm going to get my friend back. And if I have to, I'm going to fight those black cats to do it. Whatever's going on up there, said Mother, it doesn't affect us, sweetheart. We're different. Varjak shook his head. We're not different. We're not special. We're cats, just the same as the others. They looked at him as if he'd gone mad. Didn't you hear what Holly said? She's right. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day soon the gentleman's coming for us too. His cats killed the elder Paw to stop us leaving. He's got something planned for us. I know he has. A murmur went round. They were thinking about it, but they weren't convinced yet. Even if you're right, said father, how can we fight those black cats? They're too strong. The elder Paw fought them, said Varjak. They beat him, but he gave them a fight first, a good fight. If we work together, we can do it. That's what I believe. Who's coming with me? He looked around the family circle. Mother, father, and Auntie Julie looked away. Julius and Jasmine looked away. Jethro and Jerome looked away. Varjak Paw was on his own again. All right, he said, if you change your minds, you know where to find me. He came down off the chair and marched out of the circle, out of the room, into the corridor. No one came with him. He didn't expect them to. It was all right. Like being in the city again, he had nothing to rely on but himself and the skills Jalal had taught him. Nothing else. He slunk to the foot of the stairs. Holly was up there somewhere, and so were the gentleman's cats. How was he going to get past them? He'd need to be invisible. He was going to have to shadow walk, the only skill he couldn't master. He took a deep breath. This time it had to work. There was no other way. He remembered his dreams. You must know yourself. Be sure of yourself before you can let go of yourself. Do you know who you are? Yes, I do, he thought. I'm Varjak Paw. Nothing less and nothing more. He relaxed, let go, and merged with the shadows at the foot of the stairs. The world flickered faintly around him. One of the gentleman's cats came out of the Contessa's room. It stood at the top of the stairs, surveying the scene with its black eyes. Would it see him? It turned his way for a moment, but looked right through him. Varjak placed a paw on the first step. The black cat didn't react. It was as if he didn't exist. Slyly, slowly, slithering low, Varjak shadow walked the stairs. The gentleman's cat just sat there, invisible. Oh no, he just sat there unaware. It couldn't see him. No one could. He was invisible. He could go anywhere. But where was he going? What was he going to see? He remembered Holly's face as she came into the front room. Whatever it was that lay ahead, it wasn't good. At the top of the stairs, he heard mewling. It made his fur prickle. It was the sound of fear. But he had to face it. However awful, he had to learn the truth about the gentleman, the vanishings, and the Countess's room. That was the only way that he could save Holly. His awareness tingling with danger, Varjak crept past the gentleman's cat and up to the room. Sticking to the shadow so he couldn't be seen, he looked in. It was just as Holly had said. There was a cage in there. It had a solid metal door and sharp wire mesh. It was full of cats, street cats with no collars, but they weren't tough or menacing. The air was thick with the scent of their fright. Varjak could taste it, bitter on his tongue. They were cowering from the gentleman as he reached into the cage, cowering from the black cat that prowled by his shoes. Look. Varjak craned his head right back and saw the gentleman pluck out a tortoiseshell cat from the cage. She was mewling pitifully. So were the cats around her. The gentleman closed the cage door and locked it up with a lever. Varjak had to hold himself still as the shiny black shoes clicked past, a whisker away. The gentleman was carrying a tortoiseshell out of the room, dangling her by the scruff of her neck. The black cat stayed behind, standing guard over the others. It took all Varjak's control to stay there in the shadows. The urge to flee clawed at his chest. The cage, the cats, the smell, it was like a nightmare. But he had to trust himself, be true to himself. Downstairs, he had known that it was right to come up here. And it was still right. There could be nothing worse for a free cat than to be locked up in a cage like this. Even if it never affected the Blues, this was more important than family, more important than anything. He had to find a way to release Holly and the others. But where was she? He looked into the cage again and finally glimpsed her in the corner. Holly was all right. Varjak could see she was talking to someone. A thin, frightened-looking, chocolate brown cat. Was it possible? Varjak looked closer. His heart skipped a beat. It was Tam. There she was, scared, but still alive after all this time. So Holly was right about the vanishings. This was where they ended up. But why? Where's he taking that tortoiseshell? Holly was asking Tam. What's he going to do with her? Tam shook her head. We don't know, but that's the end of her. Once he picks you, it's over. She shuddered. It doesn't take long, said another cat. In the shadows, Varjak's scalp prickled. What didn't take long? What was going on here? And why was his mouth so dry? Can't we get out of this cage? He heard Holly ask. Think we haven't tried, said Tam. It only opens from outside. And even if you could open it, how are you going to get past them? Those black cats are the ones who got us in the first place. Varjak felt cold. It was that strange sensation again, being watched by something not quite alive, not quite dead. He'd felt it downstairs when he met a black cat's eyes. What did it mean? It couldn't be coming from the black cat this time, because it wasn't looking at him. Throat tightening, only just holding back the fear. Varjak followed his awareness. And now he saw where the sensation came from. It wasn't one gaze he felt, but many. There were other cats in the room, heaped up in a box. They didn't move, didn't talk, didn't breathe. He looked into their eyes. They were wide open, but they didn't blink. They weren't eyes at all. They were shiny coloured glass with a black slash through the middle. Varjak's head began to spin. What was it Holly had said? They're not alive? No, they were just like the toys in the city, but turned off. The gentleman came back into the room. He was carrying a tortoiseshell cat, but it wasn't quite the same anymore. It had become totally still. It didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink its glassy eyes. It had a new collar tight around its neck. The gentleman touched the collar, and as it opened its mouth to speak, Varjak knew with awful, sickening certainty what words it would say. I am very well, thank you, please, said the tortoiseshell in a hollow little voice. And there's a picture for you. Its smiling head nodded up and down, until the gentleman touched its collar again, and it was still once more. It was a toy cat now, like the others, a perfect, preserved, furry toy that seemed almost alive, because it once was. So were the rest of them, every last one, not quite alive, not quite dead, not cats anymore, but toys. Varjak wanted to scream. This was wrong. He'd never seen anything so wrong. The gentleman placed the tortoiseshell carefully in the box and rifled through it, counting up his toys. Varjak turned his eyes away from the sight, and the cats in the cage began to howl. What a dreadful, dreadful situation. We'll have to wait to find out what happens now. How is Varjak going to put this right? How is he going to free the cats in the cage and stop any more cats becoming toys? What an exciting story. I'm loving it. It's really good. It's a nice, good, thick book, this one, and we're nearly at the end now. Just a couple more chapters to go. Hope you're enjoying it. I really am. I'm loving reading it to you. It's like nearly as good as when you're sitting on the carpet in front of me, but not quite. Hope you're being really good. Remembering all the stuff of being precious and being good and looking after each other. I'm sure you are. Know that you're being thought about. Hello to all of you. Have a lovely day or a lovely big sleep, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye, my lovelies. Bye-bye.